Okay, here we are another Sunday, and man, have things changed in a week. They're sharp. Yeah, wow. Like, Middle East is taking a kicking. And, well, before we get into that, let's pay. I just made a couple of notes here about the world, how fast it's changing. It's crazy. The plan has been kicked into high gear. I'm not talking about U.S. and Iran, although they will be, but there's so much else going on behind the scenes here, and it's all being rolled out. Carney's a big player in it, so that means Canada is not in a good spot. The U.S. is doing quite a bit better. I don't think they're going down that same road that the rest of these clowns are. So anyways, it's going to be a lot of changes coming down, and they're not going to be how they're presented. They're going to be a lie, of course. We know we've been lied to. Even though most of the lies are blatant, they come right out and tell us in a roundabout way, but you have to listen real closely to catch the lies, decipher them, right? I hope the audio's okay. Let me know if it's not. Anyways, they put out these statements with little nuances. It's to signal their friends that in their cohorts of their moves that they're on board. So Carney, he's the worst of the worst. Trudeau was horrible and divided the citizens into a variety of groups, and whether it was issues created by himself with Carney's guidance, or whether it's through, it could be through different races, nationalities, male, female, those that don't know what they are. It's anyways, they're playing all angles against us. So he's just been selected to get in here and finish the job, folks. It's going to be very hard to try and live a normal life. We're going to do the best we can. We have to keep in touch and keep the messages going out there. So anything we can do to try to keep the word going. Don't know how it's going to work. Maybe enough will comply with the government that they'll get away with it. Maybe some will refuse, like us, and maybe a few will rebel. We don't know how that's going to play out. Usually it goes down to the refusal, and then the rebellion comes later. The problem is the stage has been set with the government, including the Senate, the police, the courts, the educational programming and technology spying on the people. We know that's happening. The banks are ready to release access to individuals' accounts for the government to see and poke through and follow all the transactions that everybody makes, right? So they want to know every cent you spend, where it's going, what you've done, and what you're up to. That's kind of like a communist country, doesn't it? It actually sounds exactly like a communist country. Eventually, everything will be digitalized and controllable, and we're going to have to try to work around it somehow and do the best we can. Right now, the price of fuel might be going up, probably going to be going up. I will say maybe for sure going up, but I can't say that because I don't have a crystal ball, but Iran is closing down the Strait of Hormuz. They might already have shut it down. I'm not sure, but anyways, I was watching the special UN meeting. What a joke that was. The spokesperson for Russia, I think he's their foreign minister, but he just condemned the U.S. and allies and had a big speech, and then he actually got up and walked out after he finished. He was the only one that did so. The U.S. envoy did good. She held her ground. Israel did good. Iran said they're a nation of peace. I kind of cracked up when I heard that. I thought, when did you become a nation of peace? Not since the revolution and the Ayatollahs. You haven't been a nation of peace. So that's a lie coming out of there. And they were saying that, well, you know, they were following with the IAE, the International Atomic Energy or whatever it is, the agreement. No, they weren't. And why were they building these things underground in mountains if they were so above board with everything? That doesn't make sense, does it? Well, they're not under the mountains now. The mountain's on them. It came crashing down the other night. So, looks good on them. We'll see how this is going to go. It's far from over, that's for sure. So, anyways, it was quite a show. There's a lot of countries speaking out against the U.S., Pakistan, all the normal Arab countries. I've never seen Saudi Arabia there. I didn't see Canada there, Bob Rae just as well. So it was hard to watch. It was kind of boring. It was just pointing fingers and a lot of platitudes that didn't really mean anything. So I struggled through it. I think it was 90 minutes or something like that. It was over an hour, I'm sure. So anyways, if you didn't see it, you didn't miss much. Now, Mullahs for Peace, Canadian National, you got it, man. Let's see, I'm going to play a quick clip here. And once I get my settings up, bear with me for a couple of minutes. Or not that, for a minute.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani.
So that was Trump's short announcement. Just to the point, direct to the point. They're trying to slough this off. The UN is useless. I've said that many times before, and you know, the UN, WHO, WEF, NATO, the whole bunch, right? And Bill thought Trump was pro-peace. Yeah, well, the thing is, do you really want Iran to get away with having nuclear weapons? So, the UN wasn't going to do anything. They were softened up quite a bit over the last few days with Iran and Israel going at it. So, anyways, peace through strength. That's the only thing those people understand. When they think they got the upper hand, they're going to use it. So, all I can say about that right now, we're going to see how this plays out. It's ongoing, of course. I think this is just the beginning. I see that Starmer from the UK is threatening to join in the fun. Why, I don't know. He's useless. But anyways, he figures. Sorry, I'm going to turn that volume down a bit. It was probably starting to get a little bit breaking up. Let me know if I get that volume up too high. So, of course, we have our leader, fraudster, whatever you want to call him. This is something here I want to show you here. This is, I mentioned this on American channel. I commented because they're talking about, like Phil's saying here, about striking back. And this here is something that probably some Americans are not really aware of. Now, I'm having a hard job getting stuff to fit in the screen. It's in my settings, and that's something I got to work on here this week. But this is from our Just Committee report, our House of Commons. This is the 18th report, Standing Committee on Justice and Human Rights. 44th Parliament. That would have been our last Parliament we've had. And it's measures to protect Canadians that the committee report to the House following common sense measures to protect our people. This is not from the Liberal Party, folks. This is from the Conservatives. 1. Designate the IRGC as a terrorist entity under the Criminal Code and expel the estimated 700 Iranian agents operating in Canada. Well, the Liberal government begrudgingly did list the IRGC as a terrorist entity after almost like pulling teeth, but didn't do anything about the 700 Iranian agents. Establish a foreign influence registry. I don't think that was done. Evaluate Canada's threat assessment in light of UK travel advisory. I don't remember what that was. Remove red tape and speed up access to the security infrastructure program to protect communities at risk. I'm sure that hasn't been done. And create an anti-hate crime task force to coordinate the protection of faith communities. I think that's been done. That was they did that to protect the Muslim, the Islamic faith. So they did do that, sort of. Respectfully submitted Lena Metlidge Diab, chair. And that was apparently in the Senate, I believe. No, it was House of Commons. So, Yahoo, yeah, that's what they've done so far for us, which is basically, they did list the IRGC as a terrorist organization, and they did bring in the hate registration to protect the Islamic mosques, and you know where I'm going with that, right? So we had we had this clown. I wish I could fix that screen, but I'm going to have to work on that. Sorry about that. It's a little off center on me. Now, there was a response from our guy in Ottawa. I don't know what to call him. I can call him lots of things, but I don't want to do it on here. Prime Minister Mark Carney has called for de-escalation of hostilities in the Middle East and for parties to return immediately to the negotiating table. Or else what, Carney? Or else what? Tell us, Carney, or else what? What are you going to do? Huh? Huh? It sounds like you're making a threat. Return immediately to the negotiating table. It's like a dog with no teeth. It's reasonably safe to say that at this point, this is from Tom Quiggin, that no one at the adults table really cares what PM Mark Muslim Values Carney thinks. Years ago, Canada used to get a seat at the adults table during a crisis. Now we don't even get a seat at the kids table. And we got, this probably would have been the response from Trump. Like, hey, Carney, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you say, Carney. Nobody cares. Just shut up. Oh, well, Mr. Brownteeth has spoken. It's all over now. That's from Ron Peer. Mark Aaron. Well, I guess the war is over now then. Yeah. Yeah, Carney's going to look after everything. He needs to go back to England. Canada needs a mail-in ballot free election. No kidding. Who the F is Mark Carney? Sounds like he's not standing with Trump. No kidding. So, yeah, Carney. He's our joke. It's a bad joke. But that's what we got. Kind of sad, isn't it? So, we've got you know, where am I with this? I'm going to go back because there's something else I think I was going to look at besides the clown show. And okay. So Carney's still in Ottawa, hiding out. I'm going to bring this one up. I just seen this now.
Mr. Carney, do you agree with the Americans' decision to bomb Iran, sir?
Trump's decision?
Yeah, Carney wouldn't answer that one, would he? So, he's kind of being very, very distant for a good reason. Betty Power, hello. Notice Zelensky walked away from the G7 with billions from Canada, no kidding. And there was just I don't know, was it 83 million or something was just given to African nations for some stupid reason, someplace to launder some money. It's, who knows who's getting their pockets filled on that one. There's no paper trail. That's what the Auditor General has been saying. Well, this stuff's got no paper trail to it. The money's just disappearing off into the void. We need an audit of all these politicians. They got to show their bank accounts. They want to look into our bank accounts. We got to look into theirs. Want to know what's going on? They're stealing our money. They're robbing us blind. And they're walking away. They're laughing at us. Liberals get up and they laugh at us. Whenever they're questioned, they just make a joke out of everything. Like it's, yeah, what are you going to do? They know they're getting away with it. Trudeau showed them the ropes. Carney showed Trudeau the ropes. And they're robbing us blind. Marie, just last week, Mr. C said we stand with the USA. Yeah, until the U.S. made a move to aid Israel, and Carney is not really pro-Israel. He's kind of pro-Palestinian, pro-Islam. So he changed his tune pretty quick, didn't he, on that? So don't worry, the Americans see through them. They know what's going on up here. They have known what's going on up here for the last decade, ever since Trudeau went in. Remember, Canada was put on the religion watch list for the persecution of Christians, basically in Canada. I think that was a senator or governor, or I don't know, I cannot remember. It was quite a while ago he did that, which was a good move. Next, seeing a sign on a moron's lawn that had Canada and EU flag, Canada's new friends, with the F. Yeah, we don't need friends like that. The EU is a joke. It's another money-sucking hole. So, and the Liberal government just loves it, especially Carney, because he's all part of the EU. He was going to send money now to Europe for the military, to support their military. Where's this money coming from? It's all part of the plan to break us. It's quite obvious. They just want to break the country, bankrupt it. That is part of the plan, and he's pushing hard. Trudeau did a pretty good job bankrupting us, but he's in there to finish us off, right? They built high-density tiny homes here for the homeless and poop people. They're stacked up container structures. There you go, yeah. Well, they're going to do a bunch of those modular homes here, too. Oh, by the way, New Brunswick, the premier here, the Liberal premier, Susan Holt, she whined and cried to the federal government, probably not too hard, to increase the number of immigrants coming in here this year from, we were going to get 3,200, and she got it bumped up to 4,800. Although there's a housing crisis and we don't know what we're going to do to help people out, and times are tough and money's short, but we sure could use another 4,800 people, because we need people to help build the homes. We need construction workers, and hey, you're bringing in people from halfway around the world to put them to work here. Why not bring somebody in from another province? If we're that busy, which we're not, I guess because the federal government, using federal or Canadian taxpayers' dollars to subsidize them, and the companies get to get the cheaper labor, and to hell with the Canadians, you can starve. Get back in your tent and stay there. Only come out for your soup kitchen and your food line. So, anyways, she's got her way, no problem. Yeah, you want more immigrants, we got them. We got them coming in, and we'll send them to you, no problem there, Ms. Holt. Thank you for supporting the Liberal Party of Canada. People voted her in. That's what we got. People are too stupid to see the difference, know what's going on. Of course, they pay attention. That's what I always get. I pay attention. I know what's going on out there. Right. Not really. So and that's why we're at where we're at. where we're at now, and we're still fighting this. I'm sick of this climate. This climate is going to be the hottest, driest summer ever, and they're it's a climate change, and we got to control that climate. We got to keep the temperature down. You know, it's just getting crazy. It's summer, and actually CBC was pushing that big time, and they had a local farmer on to talk about the drought and the climate change and how it's been affecting the family farm, and kind of backfired on her when he got on there and she asked him about, well, yeah, it's going to be the hottest, driest summer ever, and he said, well, had to have the tractor towed out of the field 3 times in 1 hour because it's so wet. It's the wettest spring we've had in a long time, and it's a little cold too. The vegetables are a little slow taking off. Oh, she said, she said, but she tried to prod him to get him to say this year was going to be different. And he said, well, we look back, or she said, look back over 20 years and you'll see that this is going to be a lot hotter. And he said, well, not necessarily. He said, we've had some pretty hot summers in the past and some droughts, but we always make it through. We have irrigation. We're right by a river. It cost a little bit extra to run the irrigation, but hey, you know, it's probably might end up using irrigation again this year. Some years we don't have to, some years we do. Oh, so then after that interview, then she brought on somebody from the University of Toronto to talk about the hate speech against the LGBTQ community in Canada and how it's being ramped up, and it's all coming up from the United States of America. That's all this hate speech is coming up against the Where the heck did she get that from? Well, she got it from actually the University of Toronto. I don't know. I assume it was a professor, but who cares? Anybody out of the U of T is probably going to be so hard left that they could never make a right turn. Anyways, they rambled on about that for about 10-15 minutes, and she thanked him. And oh yeah, well, maybe if it wasn't a whole month of pumping the pride out there, maybe if it was 1 day or less, maybe people are getting fed up. Did you ever think of that? So no, they don't think of that. They don't mention that. We had with what's going on there now, I mentioned at the beginning here about the oil probably going to go up in price. Here on the East Coast, we get our oil from Nigeria. We get it from where else? A little bit from Saudi Arabia, which would be affected with the Strait of Hormuz. Nigeria wouldn't affect it, and the United States is the other one. But if we won't be getting any from the United States. If we do, it's going to be marked up quite a bit because the U.S. will be struggling with the oil shortage too. So, yeah, we could be going up in price, and liberals will like that because they'll say, no, there's nothing wrong with that. That's going to help save the planet, the climate. So, I was looking at the Climate Depot here with Mark Morano. And it's just a short clip here.
It really does. In fact, he's got a sweetheart deal with Iran. They're getting heavily discounted oil from Iran, and China has invested nearly $500 billion in the infrastructure of Iran in order to have this sort of, as you mentioned, this sort of sweetheart relationship. If Iran is disrupted, it's going to affect China, which then, of course, Donald Trump has a trade deal trying to get rare earths. China could retaliate in ways like that. But I think more immediate is going to be the Strait of Hormuz. If there's any disruption there, that's a fifth of all the crude oil that goes through there. It's going to affect energy prices, gas prices at home, very similar to what we saw at the beginning of the Ukraine and Russia war after the Russian invasion. Energy markets don't like war. Energy markets don't like war in the Middle East. And energy markets don't like war in the Middle East with China possibly getting some kind of retaliation afterward in anger for something that's not going well for them. And it looks like China will be hurt by this.
Okay, so yeah, it's China gets a lot of their oil out of Iran. They're not going to be happy. So once those tankers stop rolling through there, and the oil shortages start showing up, that could change things quite drastically, quite quickly around the world, especially with North America, the shipping. And just remember, as the price of gas and oil goes up, so does the price of everything else. And the other thing that is going to be affected with the Strait of Hormuz is urea fertilizer. We're okay in Canada, but we'll see how that works out with the U.S. U.S. gets a lot of fertilizer from Canada, and if Carney's going to try to flex his little muscles there, then maybe he'll get slapped around a bit by Trump. So he doesn't have any muscles. He can't even get his elbows up when he's in front of President Trump. He's got his hands folded behind him like a good little boy. But he's a dirty dog in behind the scenes, folks. I don't know if you've watched the documentary, The Agenda. If you haven't, you should watch it, because it's very well spelled out how this game plan is rolling out. I mean, we've been talking about this for years on here, right? But now it's reached the boiling point that they're in a hurry to get this going. It's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow in the markets. If they tank, and if the gold and silver bullion price starts to get ramped up more than it is now, and who knows about the crypto. But anyways, yeah, it's an interesting times right now, that's for sure. There's this article from the Gateway Pundit. The war starts right now. Iran's Revolutionary Guard vows retaliation after Trump's orders bombing of 3 nuclear sites. By the way, speaking of that, I think it was Pierre Yes, had made a statement to the government that Iranian refugees coming into Canada, I know Carney's going to be holding the door wide open for them. The IRGC, some of their top dogs will be sneaking in with them. That southern border with the U.S. has not been stepped up security like Carney said, because he lied. He lies steady. Everything he says is a lie. So, yeah, they're going to be coming in. There's 700 here now. That's a pretty good fighting force. They better start watching, U.S. better start watching that northern border real close. Real close. And they should have some armed drones on there to knock these ones off as they're trying to come across. But you see, they're going to be posing as Iranian refugees. We had to get out of there. We want to be American. What? We want to be American. We just want to get into America. We want to be American. No, they want to get in there and hook up with those sleeper cells that are down there in the U.S. and in Canada. So, GNR Railroad. Yeah. So, interesting times coming up. We'll see. Just watch the news. Are they going to actually tell us how many refugees are coming in? Remember, on that website, the government website, it takes 3 months to update the numbers. A lot can happen in 3 months, especially under a war situation. So, they could be in the country and out of the country, moving on south, or during those 3 months before we even know they're here. And where are those 700 that they know are here? They should have been kicked out. They know they're here. CSIS admitted it. So why didn't they just round them up? They're on the international terrorist list. But they're left here in country. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Unless they're here for a purpose. And then it makes perfect sense. There's times I just hang my head as a Canadian. I just think, how did this ever happen? President Donald Trump ordered the U.S. military to carry out precision airstrikes on 3 strategic nuclear facilities in Iran, declaring them completely and totally obliterated. Targeted sites, Fordow, Natanz, and a facility near Isfahan were struck using B-2 stealth bombers loaded with GBU-57 bunker buster munitions and Tomahawk missile fire from U.S. subs and drones. Might need some of those drones on your northern border. In his televised address and accompanying Truth Social proclamation, Mr. Trump justified the strikes as a critical blow to Iran's nuclear ambitions, citing its status as the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. The president asserted that U.S. forces made it out safely and warned that any Iranian counterattack would be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. Well, they said they're a peaceful nation. That's what Trump said during the press conference. He said, this is what he said, "Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks would be far greater and a lot easier." For 40 years, Iran has been saying, death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate in particular. So many were killed by their general Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran, far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal, but if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Last week, Tehran issued blunt threats warning of an all-out war, and specifically referencing American bases in Iraq, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and UAE, and Syria as high-value targets. Within hours of the attack, Tehran reacted sharply. State media served notice that Iran reserves all options to retaliate, possibly including rocket, drone, or missile strikes. And the Euro News reported war starts right now. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, Tehran's main army branch, said overnight on Sunday that the U.S. forces struck 3 nuclear state sites in Iran, according to U.S. President Donald Trump. The U.S. has between 40,000 and 50,000 troops stationed in the region who are expected to be put on high alert after the strikes. And the IRGC responded by saying that this has further escalated what has been an exchange of missile and drone attacks by Iran and Israel since last Friday, now escalating beyond conflict to a full-blown war in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Israel's defense ministry said it elevated its state of alert even further, canceling all educational activities, gatherings, and workplaces except for essential sectors. And Trump's decision to directly involve the U.S. comes after more than a week of strikes by Israel on Iran that aim to systematically eradicate the country's air defenses and offensive military capabilities while damaging its nuclear enrichment facilities. And then Iran struck back at a hospital in I think it was Tel Aviv, and blew that all apart. And that's how they operate. They don't hit the military targets. They go for civilian. So, Phil Calistani also on terror list. Finally. That took a long time to get them on there. And so he's got bodyguards now. Well, you think he'd have his Calistani terrorist buddies hanging out with him to protect him. Maybe they don't want any part of him either. It's hard to say. Now, just for giggles, I'm going to show you this one. This is only 14 seconds long. So, this is how you deal with these antibodies. You've probably seen this. This is an older one, but I came across it. It was just reposted. It's always good for a chuckle. I just get a kick out of it. That's how you deal with them. The old frying pan. That's all we need here. Terra firma, I hear you, but Iran is not launching missiles targeting hospitals. Well, it showed a hospital, the whole front blown off it. I don't think it was AI generated. But, anyways. I love the frying pan. That works so good. And then, how did, where'd it go? I don't know, I was just trying to find one here, sorry, on the climate. It's an old, worn out topic right now, but they're beating us with it to no end, right? They just won't let us take a break from it. That's Mark Carney's, that's his go-to thing. Keep pushing that climate, keep pushing those electric vehicles, keep pushing the batteries, and keep pushing the businesses out of Canada at the same time. So, and Monday they're going to sign the Canada-Europe Security and Defense Pact in Brussels. So he's off to Brussels. That's probably where he was going when he was cornered by that the guy that was ignored as him and his lovely wife were heading to the plane to get out of Canada. A little too hot here for him, and I don't mean climate change. I mean there's a lot of corruption. So he's not going to be around much. That's why they shut it down for the summer. You're not going to see Carney or his lovely wife, thankfully. All the dirt's coming out. There's a lot of stuff going down. These nation-building projects, Laurie Goldstein, you take him or leave him. Sometimes he's okay, other times he's just way off base. His latest editorial, whose rights prevail in nation-building projects? What happens when an indigenous or environmental group is so opposed to any fossil fuel infrastructure project, such as a pipeline, that no concessions will ever satisfy them? Well, Doug Ford just came out with a big statement. Doug Ford, he's a weird person. Sometimes he's conservative, other times he's liberal. Depends what suits him. But he's talking about the indigenous people and the chiefs and the mining in the Ring of Fire, and how it could bring so much wealth to the indigenous people, and they could. He's got a project with tens of millions of dollars for education for the indigenous, so they can learn whatever they want. They get scholarships. They can go into the trades, or they can. He said you can be a lawyer, a doctor, whatever you want to be. It's there for you. And that would be coming out of the profits from the mining. So he's offering them a chance to get ahead, whether they take it or not. Some of the reserves are in rough shape, except for the chief's house, which has the new four-wheel drive and the side-by-side wheeler and the snowmobile and all the extras. Other ones are pretty good, but there are more corrupt chiefs than ones that are actually working for the band. Band council has all the power, so I've seen it personally in action, so I know. And I've dealt with natives a fair amount, actually. I actually was a substitute or stand-in teacher for the trade, piping trade, when their teacher had to go to Quebec for a funeral. So I was asked by the union, because I had taken the instructors and teaching course, if I would fill in. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I had a great time. I think they had a great time too. I'm not bragging, but I think they preferred me over the other teacher, because at the end of the week, they said, wow, we actually got something done. Because I might have told this story before, but when I got there, and there was a native gal in there that she was kind of, I guess, a supervisor or something, or I don't know her actual position, nice young lady. And I said, so what are we doing here anyway? She said, well, we're learning how to fill out invoices. Oh. I said, have you finished your piping, all the piping course or whatever? And no. I said, well, why are you filling out an invoice to bill somebody if you haven't got the job done? Let's go out to the shop and run some pipe. Man, they jumped up. They went out to the shop. They didn't want to sit there and do invoices. So, yeah, we had a great time. And there was a couple of old boys there, and I sat around and talked to them about hanging around a bit in Lytton and Lillooet, out in that part of the country, and on the res, and yeah, a little gold panning out through there. And so, yeah, they were interested, and they wanted to talk about moose hunting. They all got their moose and the important stuff, right? So, yeah. I think it worked out good for them, too. We were short on some material, and I said, I'm going to go pick it up. And one of the young guys, he said, you're going to go get it? And I said, yep. I said, I'm gonna knock off an hour early, and I'm going to go to the hardware store and pick up the material so I can have it here for morning. Well, they were shocked. They said, wow, that's not how it usually works. They put in an order, and it takes about a week or two to get here. I said, well, that's no good. I'll see you in the morning. I come back with a bunch of material, and then I called in and told the woman at the government what I did. And I said, I got the receipts, and I'd appreciate it if you could reimburse me. And she said, I'll get that to you right away. And thanked me for doing it. So you see, it can happen. You can work with the government and get stuff done. But you gotta sometimes step out of line of the way they're doing it, and don't ask them. Just do it. And then once you've done it, well, they're kind of committed. It's like, gee, the guy spent his money on it, I better get it to him. I got the receipts. He's got the receipts there, so yeah. So Phil, when Doug insulted the natives, yeah, he kind of did, but he had a point too. So, but that's Doug. That's the way he is. I mean, like I say, he's a weird one. So, anyways, yeah, Doug Ford. See, they got the big Dr. Doug Eilifson. This is something. This guy here, it's from yesterday. He says, this is disgraceful and inexcusable. A potentially serious and deadly disease that is completely preventable is running rampant. Officials are concerned that a polio outbreak is not far behind. Vaccines work. Please vaccinate yourselves and your children. That's because of measles. So they want people to vaccinate themselves and the kids for measles. Because it's out of control. That's in Alberta. So now that, yeah, polio's coming right behind because they go together, measles and polio. Maybe the polio and the measles, I'm just throwing this out there, just spitballing here. Maybe they're coming in with those new people that you're flooding the country with. Just saying, you know, it's possible. We never had these issues before, did we? But, gee, some might call me bad names for saying that, but sometimes the truth hurts. Stephen Guilbeault, on the other hand, speaking of, this is on National Indigenous Peoples Day. He says, we honor the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples, stewards of these lands and waters since time immemorial. There's no path to climate action or nature protection without Indigenous knowledge, leadership, and partnership. No path to climate action. This guy's full of crap. We all know that. You get a kick out of these politicians, though. This Nenshi. Nenshi is blaming Danielle Smith for Calgary's drop in global livability rankings. I really don't think she had anything to do with that. When they can't find anything, they make something up, eh? So, yeah, Nenshi's a real piece of work. Here's Melanie Jolie on National Indigenous Peoples Day. We reaffirm our commitment to reconciliation, built on respect, truth, and real partnership with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples across Canada today and every day. We walk this path together. No, you don't. It's another lie. So, they're all out there lying. I see this one guy on X, he was quacking there about Pierre out in Alberta he was in the riding there for it was, where was it? I'm trying to find it here. It's the riding where the guy stepped down for Pierre for the by-election for Pierre to take over. So I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. It's easier. I'm not going to show you than me trying to talk my way through it. It's this one here. This Jiggly News. The guy's queerer than a $3 bill. He says if Pierre Poilievre was smart, he would make sure he was photographed with a Canadian beer. They're all having a Coors beer. There's a Coors Light, and then these are regular Coors here. And the replies were good. Allergic to Kool-Aid. Pretty much every brewery in Canada is foreign owned. Coors beer is brewed in Canada by Molson, so I guess you're looking pretty effing stupid. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister moved Brookfield to New York City just weeks before running. Effing Twitter Jiggly is today. Coco loves the Odyssey. If you were smart, you wouldn't be posting this. Remember when Conservatives lost their shite when JT got fancy donuts from a local business? I remember. Well, that's the Liberal on there, of course. Jiggly's Donut Gate. Oh, he's so witty. Billy Tallywagger, if you were smart, you'd shut the hell up. So are you that dumb? Coors and Coors Light are brewed in Canada at Molson's Coors Canada's breweries in Moncton, New Brunswick, St. John's, Newfoundland, Longueuil, Quebec, Toronto, Ontario, and Chilliwack, British Columbia, while the original Coors beer is still brewed in Golden, Colorado. Pretty sure that's a Molson product, like Molson Canadian. And then you come down here and we got, you dropped your nose, you effing clown. Down here, and what do we got? Well, there he is, drinking a Budweiser. And what's this? Oh, there he is with a Coors Light. And it says, what's that? It's a Coors Light. I don't think it is a Coors Light. It's the wrong color, but it's in a Coors Light glass. It's not too late to delete your post. Yeah. These liberals can be funny at times, eh? Not intentional. I mean, in a goofy way. It's yeah, Mr. Burns, no kidding, eh? What else was there? Not too much. Let's see. Wow. You got to see this one. This is from Marty Up North. If you don't follow Marty Up North, you should. Says you walk around Walmart, you come upon this. What's your immediate thought? Guy's carrying his, I guess, his pet chicken with him, eh? I never see. I don't know what to say about that. Reporting for animal cruelty, Mark Dietz. Weird but kind of cool. That doesn't even rate for how bad some Walmart customers can be. People in Walmart videos are awesome. He appears to be choking his chicken. The takeout chicken dinner. Even the colonel's laughing. Poor chicken, they got stuck with a liberal owner. That chicken has an ugly growth on its back. Yeah, I love X. So, you never know what you're going to come across. I spend lots of time scrolling around there because it's just too crazy at times. I don't know if I can get another chuckle in here or not. Let's see if I can find one. It's always good to have a laugh and lighten it up a bit, eh? Get away from all that serious crap. Oh, there's a protest on today, University Avenue. Hands off Iran. Right on. I guess I'm going to have to put down their Palestinian flags and swap them out for the Iranian flag. So, this is, what the hell is this? Oh my. This, well, there's another chuckle for you coming up here. We'll bring it up. Welcome to Canada. So oh, this guy here, this is I don't know if I can find the video or not. I'd like to find it. This was in Toronto too. Jiggly News got a map of Ontario and all the heat aid. He's all over that climate change. He thinks that's just a cat's meow for something to to get on there and rant about, tell us how bad we are. This is Daisy Media. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy or not. He's in Toronto. Phil, the original line dancers, yeah. This guy's in Toronto, and the police are all over him. He's not doing anything wrong, but they got to protect those Muslims, right? I'll bring it up here. It's 2 minutes long. We'll get through this one.
I just was assaulted here. Are you going to do something about the assault? Who assaulted me? I was just assaulted. You saw 2798. He didn't do his job. You're going to worry about me, or you're going to worry about the people assaulting me? We going to let those assaults go today? Dude, I just got assaulted. Did you see my phone? So I've been assaulted. None of these officers will help me. They won't help me. He witnessed it. Liaisons won't help me. They witnessed it. Will any of you officers help me? I was just assaulted by this mob. I did. They're ignoring me.
Mark, no. He didn't do his job. He's not detaining the guy.
Will any of you officers acknowledge me? I've been assaulted. This officer witnessed it, ignored it. All of these officers are completely ignoring the assault. Will any of you police help? I'm asking for assistance. I've been assaulted. I have been assaulted. Can somebody assist me? I have been assaulted. Can you assist me? I have been assaulted. Can you assist me? I've been assaulted. Absolutely crazy. And ignoring an assault as this guy sets off smoke. Unbelievable. Don't touch me. This guy's setting off smoke. Where are these lunatics? Is this what we're doing, Sergeant?
Yeah, it's Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, heading east, probably Halifax, probably right here. Summer's just starting. They're gonna have to build a bigger mosque here, I know that. They're running out of room. They haven't get into the streets here yet that I know of. Blocking the streets and praying, getting down on their knees and their butts in the air, praying, so I haven't seen that. I'm not in the core of the city anyways much. It's not my style. Unless I have to for something. So yeah, it's insane out there. Canada's gone. We gotta just face it. We're not getting it back, not peacefully anyways. A change of government cannot change the damage that was done by this government that we have here and the previous one on the same stripes, same color. So it is what it is. Problem is the numbers are growing against us. Immigration is actually ramped up. It's a lie if Carney says anything, he's lying. We know that. I keep saying that. Everything he says is a lie. So Canada's done. And the problem is the government has managed to divide the Canadians. We know what Canadians are. And they can say there's no such thing as a Canadian. We can say there's no such thing as an honest liberal politician. So, yeah, they got us divided. There's people that follow along with the Liberals. They watch their programming on the programming device with the media programmers with the government talking points. And they believe it because they can't think for themselves. And when you try to tell them something, they think you're pretty strange. You're one of those. You're one of those conspiracy types. Yeah, well, when the plan is rolled out completely, it's coming out little bits at a time. Thankfully, that Bill C-5, there was a lot of amendments put into that. That saved us from a complete takeover by the Liberal Party. And there were other amendments, I don't know what they were, that the NDP voted for. Conservatives and Liberals voted against. So I don't know what those amendments were. That was kind of strange. So it's hard to keep up, like I say, everything's changing so fast. And I was confused when I seen the Conservatives voting with the Liberals, but I understand now what they were up to. They got their game plan. I said 6 months to a year. So I guess I'm leaning towards the year, or in between 6 months and a year. So when they come back in the fall, it could be a late fall election, but excuse me, we can't have another election and let them get a majority. Oh my. We'll see what happens, but it's getting pretty sketchy. Look at the damage you're going to do over the summer. It's going to be a year since we had any parliament sitting. I mean, that couple of weeks here that got their emergency bill put through is all they accomplished there. Committees, I think, are going to be going through the summer. I'm pretty sure, or I think they are anyways. That's where things get done. So there is a little hope, but the thing is, with the corruption between the courts and the police and the the media and everybody else, it's all bought off. It's an uphill battle. Yeah, Canadian National, Irish here too. Phil, Fred, Alberta may exit Confederation before that. There's a good chance, but yeah, it's hard to say how that's going to work out. I almost think that Carney would like that. It would make his job easier. So he'd be getting rid of a conservative province, in Saskatchewan too, another conservative province. I can see him being on board with that. He will speak like he wants them to stay, but in reality he's not going to do anything to help them. That's how I see it anyways. I suspect Quebec may leave first. You never know. Maybe there won't be a country. Maybe it'll just be a bunch of pieces. Our oil might be in greater demand. Our natural gas here might be in greater demand too. Maybe we get a chance to start fracking. We got trillions of cubic meters of natural gas that we're not allowed to touch. Sure, if you're waiting for a referendum, yeah, it's coming. Marie, what was improved in C5 and C2? I don't know if there was anything changed in C2. I don't think C2 has gone through. I'm not sure. I don't think it has. C5, there was some clauses in there that gave the government basically full control to avoid Parliament completely, to do what they want to do, and to do projects that they choose without consultation, and no Auditor General wouldn't have the power to look through to see where the money was going and any paper trail or anything like that. So there was privacy in there too, was another one. So there's quite a few things. There's, I don't know how many amendments that were passed on that to cancel, to take that out. I'm going to say between 6 and 12 because I don't know the number, but I know it was at least 6 and probably less than 12. Might have been 11 or something. I'm not sure. So right, Doug wants the Castle Doctrine. Yeah, Brian Lilly tried to say we already have that. Well, not really. We do, but technically we don't because the courts overrule it. We've seen that time and time again. So Phil, it might be better to dissolve the federal government than Canada. Yeah, I agree with you there. When I was way back, when I was around 18 years old, back then I said, we got to do something different. This government system we have is no good. We need a change. We'd have to somehow, I was talking back then kind of physically. So I've been watching that for a long time, and nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. Phil, they know if Alberta leaves, they get no Alberta bucks. That's right. But I don't think they care. Like I say, he's trying to bankrupt the country anyways. That's part of his plan. Because you got to keep the people poor. See, if they want to bring out the CBDCs, digital ID, digital currencies, they've got to break the country. They have to bankrupt it. So then they can switch to digital. Then they got control. And then it'll be the UBI, Universal Basic Income. So, liquid gal is definitely way back, I guess. Yeah. So I still say it's all intentional to bankrupt the country and break everybody, and then they'll say, we're going to have a bank jubilee. We'll get rid of all your loans. Then you won't own anything. You'll be happy because you won't owe any money, but you won't own anything. So as far as vehicles go, as they force the EVs on to people, watch the price of fuel shoot up, and there's going to be a scarcity of it too. And in 10 years they'll say, well, you can still own a gas vehicle. Don't know where you're going to get the gas, but you can still own the vehicle. Marie, yes, definitely check out the documentary, The Agenda, by all means. You can get it on Rumble or BitChute. I just watched it a couple of days ago. Yeah. It's about 2 hours long. Very interesting. Very scary. It's the type of movie documentary that you would like to get some of these people that are so anti-us and so pro-Carney to watch. You might have to sit them down and strap them to a chair, but it might open some of their eyes. Maybe some of them will say, no, that's not true. Our government wouldn't do that to us. Right. Faye, you are poor. Yeah. Well, he's in there to destroy us. So, I think it was last week I played that clip of Whitney Webb. And she was saying how Carney was selected. That election was a bit sketchy, don't you think, folks? I see in BC now, there's a couple of ridings there, one in Surrey that there's a lot of issues with. Drea Humphreys had a video, she had the guy on there that was running for the Conservatives, very close race in that riding. So, let's see how that plays out. EB is pretty sketchy. That whole election out there was very doubtful. I think ours was very doubtful too. I know that the 21st state thing swung things Carney's way, and Carney lied his way through it, as the Liberals always do. And they also stole half the Conservatives' platform. Not that they're going to, follow through with it, but it's amazing how the people that wouldn't vote for the Conservatives, but they would vote for the Liberals that stole the Conservatives' platform. Wouldn't you think if they had a half a brain, they'd think, I don't know if I can trust that guy. They can't think for themselves, you see. So, it's, you just can't fix stupid. Is a problem, and that's why we're at where we're at. Big trouble. So I've got a mission. I've got to get back into my software and try to fix this so I can get a full page to display on here. I'm only getting partial, but then again, I checked this morning and my microphone wasn't working. I had to uninstall it and then reinstall another mic, same mic, but the software just didn't recognize it. I don't know what it is, but every week I've got to go through it. A couple of weeks ago the camera wouldn't work. So it's good software, but I just got to do everything set up every time. Lawrence, yeah, just like Marie says there, just search the title, it'll pop up. You can get it on BitChute or Rumble. And you caught it on YouTube. Okay, I didn't know if it was censored on YouTube, some of it, if the whole video was on there or not. Definitely worth watching though. And it'll fill in a few blanks that we might have missed, haven't talked about or whatever, but it's well put together, well done, very well done. So, okay, we're into summer. Hopefully we're going to get some weather. I mean, my garden is just horrible. What the slugs didn't get, there's so much rain, I'm loaded with slugs. Nothing's growing, and I don't see this hot weather they're talking about. We're going to get up to 25 degrees centigrade for the Americans. But that's not hot. It's nice, but as long as there's no humidity. Anyways, it's not about the weather. We'll do it again next week. And it's great seeing you on here, everybody. Appreciate it. We tried to get through a few things here, and it was a bit of a variety show as usual, which helped break up, and I think maybe you got a couple of chuckles out of some of those videos, so it's all good. So, right on. Thank you very much. God bless. And God bless America. You guys down there, get your hands full. I don't know what to say about here. So, bye for now, and I wish